Great. So, welcome, and it's nice to have all of you join today. The topic for today for the webinar is mindfulness and how to develop self-compassion. So my name is Ester Odermatt, and I'm a mental health clinician at the Northumberland Family Health Team. And it's a pleasure to spend the next little bit of time with you today. And I hope something that I offer today will be supportive in meeting your needs of why you signed up to attend. So just to let everybody know, there's a little bit of an agenda. I'm going to go through just a couple of housekeeping items, and then we are going to look at how to develop self-compassion. Then we're going to engage in some mindfulness practices in order to cultivate the spirit of self-compassion. And we'll look at some benefits of self-compassion and then wrap up for today. Overall, today we should be spending approximately between 45 minutes to an hour together, and that will be based if you also have any questions at the end of the presentation today. It might run a little bit closer to the 60 minutes versus the 45. Just to let you know, if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the question and answer section. At the bottom of your screen, there should be a black bar that has a Q&A box. Click on that and feel free to ask any questions. Just to let you know, I will not be disclosing anybody's names during this presentation in order to ensure your privacy. But if you do have a question that you post there, I will answer it publicly without any identifying information. Please be advised that this presentation is being recorded. So like I said, any questions that you post will be answered publicly through the format today, but no information of yours will be shared. And then just again to note that we will be spending some time practicing mindfulness and self-compassion today. If at any time you get overwhelmed with the practice or find that it's difficult for you, feel free to take a break. There's no obligation for you to sit through the whole practice if it's not feeling comfortable for you. You can always just return to your breath or go get a drink of water or do something that feels better for you if you do feel overwhelmed by the practice. Okay, sometimes practices do bring up a little bit of emotion. So without further ado, I do want to just take a moment to do what I call a soft landing breathing practice, which is just the intentional focus of transitioning between whatever it was you were doing before you joined today and the information that will be provided today. It's just a little bit of a transition to get yourself settled into this moment. So I just invite you, if you're comfortable, to take a couple of nice big deep breaths in and out. Just in and out. Just focusing on that breath. And if you're comfortable, gently allowing your eyes to close. And just taking a moment to scan your body, just noticing any aches or pains or discomfort or areas of tension. Just scanning through your body and just noticing. And now just noticing any areas that feel calm or pain-free. Again, just doing a quick scan through your body. Perhaps starting at the top of your head and going down to the bottom of your feet, or perhaps just noticing what's calling your attention. Noticing where your body is connected with the seat. Noticing your feet connected to the floor. Noticing if you have a wandering mind, because that's quite typical that our mind will bounce around. And just taking notice without judgment. Then returning your attention to your breath and just noticing where you feel it the most. Maybe it's on the inhale with the cool air coming in through your nose. Maybe it's with the exhale with the warm air coming back out through your nose. Maybe it's with the gentle rise and fall of your chest or belly. Just noticing the breath. And as we draw this short practice to a close, I just invite you to gently open your eyes and reorient to the room around you if your eyes were closed. And take one last nice big breath in and out. Thank you for joining me in that brief transition soft landing practice. So the question today that all of you have come and signed up to learn more about is how to develop self-compassion. So in order to learn how to develop self-compassion, we actually first need to understand what self-compassion is. So self-compassion involves the acknowledging of your own suffering and responding kindly to your own suffering, which is often difficult because we often engage in criticism or self-judgment when it comes to our own suffering. So really, self-compassion is acknowledging it and allowing space for your suffering and be gentle with yourself. And that concept is taken from Russ Harris, and a lot of the information I'm presenting today is actually from him, as he's a leading expert in the field of self-compassion. So it's treating yourself with the same kindness that you would give to someone else that you care about, if they were dealing with something similar, whether that's something emotionally difficult or maybe it's physical pain, but it's responding with kindness the way that you would to somebody that you care about, but responding to yourself in the same way. And another leading expert in the field, Kristen Neff, says self-compassion is a practice in which we learn to be a good friend to ourselves when we need it most. So Russ Harris, again, a leading person in the field of self-compassion, has developed what are called building blocks, and there's 6 of them, of developing self-compassion. So that's what I'm going to lead you through next, is what those 6 building blocks are. The first building block of self-compassion is the acknowledgement of the pain or suffering that you are experiencing. So it's noticing and acknowledging your pain and your emotional suffering instead of trying to move away from it. We typically try to block it out or move away from something that's difficult. So the first step, according to Russ Harris, is that we actually need to acknowledge it instead of moving away from it. And this is done in a very non-judgmental way. For example, just stating something to yourself like, I am noticing painful feelings, or I'm noticing I'm feeling rejected, or I'm noticing that I'm experiencing sadness or anxiety. So it's just the acknowledgement of I'm noticing the emotion that I'm having in this moment. Then the second step or building block is what's called diffusion from self-judgment. Now, this is diffusion is kind of a tricky word and sometimes hard to understand. So basically what this means is that we learn to separate or unhook ourselves from the thoughts and beliefs that we have rather than kind of engaging in that judgment. So essentially we're just observing and we're doing nothing more or less than just noticing that there are things that I'm experiencing, such as words or pictures or emotions that are going through my body and mind. So it's about noticing the thought or the feeling rather than labeling the thought or feeling as good or bad. We typically label feelings or thoughts as being a good thought or a good feeling, or a bad thought or a bad feeling. For example, we kind of think of depression and anxiety and anger as being bad emotions, and happiness or surprise or feeling confident as being good emotions. But with the idea of self-compassion, we're actually not labeling either one of those as being good or bad. We're just noticing that they're present. Okay. Now, the third building block that builds off of the acknowledgement of what we're going through and the ability or the working towards not labeling as good or bad is actually then acting with kindness towards ourselves. So basically giving yourself the kindness that you deserve through what you value, what your value system is, and by taking some sort of action. So taking some sort of action that allows you to move to a place of self-compassion versus self-judgment. Now, I know that that can be tricky. So an example of this would be using self-talk, such as saying, I'm human, I'm allowed to feel what I'm feeling. Anyone else in the same situation would be having similar emotions and difficulties. Everybody in life makes mistakes. I'm not the only one. I'm not a bad person for making a mistake. I just made a mistake. Okay. No one is perfect. So it's the acknowledgement, the allowance for the emotion, and then giving ourselves the kindness of saying, oh, yeah, I'm struggling right now, and that's okay. Everybody goes through difficult times. Everybody makes mistakes. No one's perfect. Okay. And there's practical ways to engage in self-kindness, and we're going to do a couple of those today. I'm going to lead you in a couple of practices today. A loving kindness meditation, which is one of the ones that I'm going to lead you in today. So you'll learn a bit more about that in a few minutes. Self-care and self-soothing. So this is just doing something that feels good for you, maybe going for a walk or taking a bubble bath or petting your pet, or just engaging in something that you find soothing, maybe listening to music, going and watching nature, just anything at all that allows you to feel soothed. Another way to engage in self-kindness is by spending time with people who love and genuinely care about us and have our best interests at heart. And then using self-touch, such as gently placing a hand over your heart or giving your arm a stroke. We do that with children when they're upset. We often will stroke their forehead or their arm or give them a nice big hug. So as adults, we actually still need that as well. So a way to give yourself kindness is to actually just do one of those things. Give yourself a hug, stroke your own arm or knee to allow the sensation of care and compassion to enter your world. Our body actually responds really well to this physical touch of self-compassion. Our brain interprets that as a loving, caring caress. Even if it might feel awkward that we're doing it to ourselves, our brain actually interprets that as a very loving act and it can help soothe us and build self-compassion. So the fourth building block that Russ Harris talks about is acceptance. So it's acceptance that we are going to feel what we feel. We're going to have thoughts. We're going to have memories that come up. We're going to have sensations that we feel. So it's acceptance of those things instead of trying to fight against them or hide from them or run away from them. So it's just basically the idea of letting the emotions, thoughts, memories flow through us instead of running away. And then taking action with what is within your control in any given situation. And there's lots of things that aren't in our control. There's many things in our worlds that are outside of our control that we don't have any say over. And so it's really important to recognize what is within your control, accept what isn't, and work towards whatever it is to improve the situation as much as you can with what is within your control. So that might be just going back and offering yourself some kindness. Maybe there isn't anything else that's in your control in that situation. Or maybe there is. Maybe there's something else that you can do. So then validation is the next building block, the fifth one. So it's validating your own feelings instead of minimizing them or thinking that you shouldn't be responding the way that you're responding. Validation is really important. When we feel validated, we often feel the difficult emotion that we're experiencing ease a little bit because we say, okay, it's not just in my head, it's not just me. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. It's valid that I'm feeling this way. So for example, instead of saying something like, I shouldn't feel this way, as there are many people who have it much worse off than me, say instead, I'm allowed to have these feelings. I'm allowed to have these thoughts. As I'm having a difficult time and I'm going through something difficult, I'm allowed to have the emotions and the thoughts that I'm having. So Russ Harris says it's normal and natural for humans to have painful thoughts and feelings when life is difficult. When we make mistakes, when we get rejected, or when we experience any kind of reality gap, which is the gap between the reality we want and the reality we've got, it's normal to feel difficult things and painful things. And so it's just the validation that we are allowed to have the thoughts and feelings that we're having. And then the final step is to remind ourselves that we are connected to others. Just taking time to recognize that everyone in the whole world has difficult thoughts and feelings that come up. That's just what makes us human, and we're allowed to have those difficult thoughts and feelings. And that your pain is not a sign of weakness. It just means that you're a human being just like everyone else. So those concepts are, I know that that's a lot, and I threw a lot of information at you all at once. So in order to maybe practice this a little bit, I'd like to just move into a self-compassion practice. And I do want to acknowledge that the practice that I'm going to do with you and lead you and guide you in today is courtesy of an individual called Sean Fargo, who does a lot of great mindfulness and self-compassion work. Okay. So this practice that I'm going to lead you in now is called the self-compassion break. It's literally something that you can do every day, any time of day or night, when you need to offer yourself a little bit of self-compassion. So just to begin, I invite you to just take a couple of breaths, and if you'd like, close your eyes. If not, that's okay. Just find a comfortable place to rest your eyes where there aren't too many distractions. And in order to practice this exercise today, there It might bring up some emotion. So I just remind you that if the emotion becomes too much, you're welcome to pause yourself and give yourself compassion by maybe going and getting a drink of water or just giving yourself a break. Because in order to practice this exercise, we actually need to call up a little bit of something that's bothering us. So I just invite you to think about a situation in your life right now that is difficult for you. Maybe you're feeling stressed. Maybe something difficult in a relationship. Maybe something that you're worried about. Maybe feelings of discontent because of COVID. I invite you to just think of something that is difficult, but not too overwhelming. Just taking a moment to recall maybe the details of what happened, who said what, or the worry of what might happen. And now I'm going to lead you in a series of phrases that are designed to help us with that difficult thing that you've brought up in your mind. Just remembering those components of self-compassion and just taking a moment to acknowledge that this is a difficult situation. Your suffering is here. And I invite you to find some sort of language that allows you to acknowledge this difficulty. Something perhaps like, this is really hard right now. Or, I'm really struggling with this. This is a moment of suffering. I acknowledge my suffering in this moment. And it's okay that I'm suffering. Suffering is a part of life. It's not abnormal to feel the way I'm feeling. Many people are struggling right now in very similar circumstances. And may I be kind to myself in this moment. I'd invite you to perhaps consider putting a hand over your heart or gently stroke your arm. Do some sort of action that promotes soothing and comforting feelings. And allowing yourself to also tell yourself what you might tell a friend. Maybe something like, I'm here for you. It's going to be okay. I care about you. You are deserving of love and compassion. And just allowing that hand now to gently fall comfortably back into your lap or wherever is comfortable. And giving yourself the acknowledgement of having practiced today, bringing up something difficult, recognizing that it's okay, acknowledging the pain, knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that you are deserving of comfort and love and compassion. And then just letting go of this practice by just gently taking a moment to scan your body and feel how you feel without any judgment, just allowing the sensations to be as they are, not judging them as good or bad, wrong or right. And then to end this practice, just allowing your mind to focus back onto your breath, breathing in and out, in and out, knowing that you've given yourself the love and compassion that you deserve today. And now just reopening your eyes and orienting back to the room around you. Taking a nice big breath in and perhaps taking a nice stretch if that feels good for you. Thank you for participating in that practice today. Now, another way that we can engage in the developing of self-compassion is just by actually, we don't have to go through a whole meditative practice. We can just do 3 steps. You can be as simple as naming the emotion that we're feeling, which is mindfulness, giving ourselves permission to feel the emotion, which is that self-compassion and self-kindness, and giving us reasons why our emotion makes sense in terms of what we've experienced or what we're currently experiencing in life, which is what's called common humanity or connectedness. So for example, it could sound something like, I feel anxious. It's okay that I feel anxious. It makes sense that I feel anxious because the world is a bit scary right now with COVID. Or it might sound something like, I feel sad. It's okay that I feel sad. It makes sense that I feel sad because I've experienced a lot of difficult things in my life. I just invite you for the next few moments to fill in those blanks with your own words. And just take a moment to do that today, right now. Just allow yourself to know that it's okay that you're feeling the way that you're feeling, that it makes sense that you're feeling the way that you're feeling. And now I'm going to move us into our second guided practice. And once again, I do want to just acknowledge that this practice is courtesy of Sean Fargo and the great work that he does and scripts that he has made. So to begin this meditation, I do just invite you to once again find a comfortable position, whether that's laying down, being seated, relaxed back in a chair, whatever feels right for you. Just finding a comfortable position where you're not going to feel like you're going to be disturbed, and that your body is supported in the way that it needs to be supported. Maybe allowing your back to rest gently against the back of the chair that you're sitting in. Perhaps, if it feels comfortable for you, placing both feet on the floor and grounding those feet to the floor, as that can be helpful in just allowing there to be connectedness between you and the universe. Gently just pulling your shoulder blades back and raising your rib cage in order to get some nice big breaths. By inviting your shoulders to be back and your rib cage up, it just allows room for breath and physical openness, and allows space for positive emotions and cultivation of presence, of being in this moment. Now gently lowering your gaze to reduce any distractions there might be, or if you're comfortable, possibly closing your eyes. During the next few minutes, you will hear my voice guiding you with some pauses and periods of silence. I just invite you in those periods of silence to contemplate the words that have been said, giving yourself the loving kindness that you deserve today. So taking a few deep breaths. And bringing your awareness to your heart. Visualize how each in-breath affects your heart physically, and how each out-breath also affects your heart and body. Just breathing naturally, making no special effort to change your breath in any particular way. Just continuing to rest your awareness on your breath and your heart. Taking a moment to consider how each in-breath nourishes you as your heart and body drinks in precious oxygen. Noticing the passing of breath through your lungs and into your heart, nourishing your bloodstream. Acknowledging and noticing that this simple act of breathing knits us together with all that is in you and all that is external from you. creating a sense of connectedness with yourself and knowing that everyone else joined in this practice right now is doing the same thing. And feeling a sense of connectedness to yourself and others. Just checking in now with how your body is feeling. Do you have any aches or pains? Any areas of tension? Any worries that might be going through your mind? Perhaps that you're excited or eager, looking forward to something. Knowing that in this moment, whatever it is that you're feeling, there's no need to push it aside. Pleasant or not, just letting that feeling in, accepting it as part of who you are and what it means to be you in this moment. Meeting any feelings you might be having with curiosity and openness. Whether your current experience is pleasant or unpleasant, just noticing and accepting it as it is. And allowing yourself to know that all people facing good or bad fortune in the world over yearn to feel safe, peaceful, and healthy. And now, alongside your awareness of your suffering or difficulty, you can choose to wish yourself well. You deserve kindness as much as anyone else. So begin to call to mind your own positive and good qualities. What touches your heart about yourself? And then gently offering yourself the classic wishes of loving kindness to yourself, choosing phrases that speak to your heart. Perhaps something along the lines of, may I feel safe and protected. Repeating after me, may I feel happy and peaceful. May I feel healthy and strong. May I live with ease. Offering yourself the kind words that a friend would offer to you. May I feel safe. May I feel happy. May I feel healthy. May I live with ease. Bring your awareness to your body as you say these phrases to yourself, and just notice without judgment whatever sensations arise. Knowing that these phrases simply open a door and a chance for you to be more open, accepting, and kinder to yourself. May I feel safe. May I feel happy. May I feel healthy. May I live with ease. If you found that your attention has strayed from those phrases and you got caught up in a thought or memory or feeling, just knowing that this happens a lot, it's normal. Don't worry about it. Not berating yourself. Simply just begin again. Acknowledging that it happened. Acknowledging that everybody's thoughts stray. Setting aside the harshness of maybe thinking you're not doing this right or that your focus has wandered. Allowing yourself to return to the phrases. May I feel safe. May I feel happy. May I feel healthy. May I feel at ease. And as we bring this practice to a close, just knowing that it's completely normal and natural to treat yourself kindly, knowing that you can generate a tender, loving attitude towards yourself at any time, just by reminding yourself that emotions come and go, that they're real, that it's okay that you're feeling what you're feeling. And just allowing yourself the compassion and acknowledgement of the phrases, may I feel safe. May I feel happy. May I feel healthy. May I feel at ease. And now just bringing attention back to your breath as we bring this practice to a close today. Just once again scanning your body and just taking note of anything that draws your attention. And with a final inhale and exhale, Opening your eyes and returning to the space of this room that you are in, knowing that you have done something wonderful for yourself today by offering yourself the compassion and love that you deserve. And finally, just to cover some benefits of self-compassion, it offers a source of comfort, security, and safety. It helps us manage stress, anxiety, and depression. It allows us to feel more connected to others and feel a bit more trustful in ourselves and other people. And it allows us to have a sense of well-being, both emotionally and physically. And what's really important to acknowledge is that it's the opposite of self-criticism. We can often get caught up in self-criticism, thinking that we should have done something different, acted different, been different, as the world is often telling us that we need to do more, achieve more, work harder. And so it's just really important that while we're striving to meet goals, we take a step back and allow ourselves to engage in self-compassion along the way. And in final slide for you today, a saying by Danielle Kopke: quiet the voice that's telling you to do more and be more, and trust that in this moment, who you are, where you are at, and what you are doing is enough. You will get to where you need to be in your own time. Until then, breathe. Breathe and be patient with yourself and your process. You are doing the best you can to cope and survive amid your struggles. And that is all that you can ask of yourself. It's enough. You are enough. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions that you'd like to pop in the question and answer section, feel free to do so now. I'll just wait and see if anyone pops any questions in there. While I'm waiting to see if that happens, I will just let you know that I will be doing another presentation on another topic in about a month. So feel free to keep yourself notified through emails or checking out our Family Health Team website. And I welcome you to join me again in the future if you find that it would be beneficial for you. So I'm not seeing any questions pop up, so I'm assuming that nobody else has any questions at this point. So thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you well. I wish you a calm and peaceful week and all the best in your journey. Take care. Bye.